y'all, Shelby with the One Performance Marketeer. Today I am just here to quickly talk about my most recent blog, which is B2B marketing for software companies has two options, do it right or bust. So really quickly, what I talk about in this blog, really things are changing really, really fast, especially in the business world. Buyer behaviors are also changing across all industries because of this. And in the blog, I say including the B2B space, but I would really kind of say that this is especially in the B2B space and especially even more so in software. You're likely already aware that outbound sales is becoming more challenging. This is something that's been happening for years, even before COVID really just shot us into the future way faster than we would have gotten on our own. And this is really making inbound software for software companies, inbound marketing, sorry, for software companies more important than ever. So with that in mind, your SaaS business has two options, do it right or bust. So how buyer behaviors have changed. Not too long ago, again, outbound sales was the norm. Cold calling prospects, going to their place of business, online and offline, this was common and often expected, but nowadays this is really not the case. Buyers, and especially those in the B2B software space, want to truly know what they're buying. They want to know if it's something they can afford, so they want to know the price. They want to know what integrations it has, so they know if it will work with their software, with their current setup. They want to know all sorts of other things, what features it has. They want to understand what your product or offering can do for them before they really even want to talk to you. This is really making education key, and because buyers are more independent than ever before, they often want to lead their buying process. So I got a really cool report. I found this really cool report from Demand Gen Report. It was their 2019 Content Preferences Service report. This showed that 96% of B2B buyers reported that B2B vendors could improve their content by curbing their sales messages. So this really shows they don't want to be reading informational blogs or content pieces or videos or whatever. They don't want to be consuming that content from you and trying to learn something and then get hit with get a demo of our product or buy our product now. They don't want that. They just want to learn. They want education, and they don't want to be sold to in this very intrusive way, I would say. So in that same study, this study had a really awesome amount of information that I didn't want to just like take it all and put it into my blog, but I found a couple other cool things. In the same study, respondents did say that they consume at least 3 to 5 pieces of content before they engage with a sales rep, despite 73% of respondents also saying that they have less time to devote to reading and research. So despite the fact that everybody's more busy nowadays, they have less time to do this research, to do this reading, they still want to do that reading, do that learning before they even speak to your sales team, which is really interesting. So considering today's busy world, this is a really significant percentage of people who want to know more about your business and what it can do for them before they want to talk to your team. So this makes it important with inbound marketing to lead your prospects through the buying cycle with relevant, valuable content and allow them to familiarize themselves with your brand and offering before you're really trying to sell them and get them into that demo call or that trial or whatever is your sales process. So then this next point seems a little dramatic, but in all honesty, adaptation is one of the most important assets for modern businesses. Whether you are a salesperson or a marketing person, or you are the CEO or you're in the leadership of your company, especially in the B2B software industry, things are changing really fast. Privacy laws are changing, public expectations, are changing, and the digital landscape is preparing for a groundbreaking transformation. So right now, at the point of me recording this video right now, talking to you, there's a lot changing. Facebook Conversions API is pretty new. And then of course we have a lot of changes coming to Google Ads. We're not going to have our ETAs soon, so we're going to be just doing responsive, and that's happening, I think, like in 2 days. I think it's June 15th. So it's ticking. Actually, it might just be tomorrow. So that's going. This might be a bit of a dating myself here, but and then of course we also have GA4 becoming mandatory in 2023. So besides all that, and the buyer behavior, this is all requiring a strategic shift. So if your business, your leadership, or you yourself are resistant to change, this is a quality you need to weed out or train up or however you want to deal with it, but it needs to be dealt with ASAP if you want your business to flourish in this modern, rapidly changing world. So going past the dramatics, we're going to get into how to do marketing for software companies, right? So this goes into a little bit of what we at OM do. At this point, you've accepted that you need to do things right, and if you want to succeed, so you need to adapt and develop your inbound marketing strategy. lay out your plan and execute on it. And then of course, after that, you need to observe your performance, learn from it, optimize, and reiterate on your strategy. So here at OM, we call this a waterfall strategy, where we first determine our goals, and then we waterfall down to developing that strategy statement that tells us how we're going to reach those goals at a very high level that's very easy to understand. And then we start to break it down in the details of the plan and then the execution milestones until we have that fully mapped out strategy execution in place and we can just start doing. So starting at the strategy step, of course, first you want to define your goals, which can really be anything. We typically work with the SMART goals, the specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. But occasionally some goals are a little bit more abstract, I would say, where maybe it's just we need to get our foundation in place. And that doesn't necessarily have a specific measurable, like, oh, we need to, there's nothing there. There's like some timeliness there. You can say, oh, we need to get our foundation in place by July 30th or something like that. But just consider your goals, think through them, think what you want to accomplish in that quarter or that time frame. So for these examples, it's, are you trying to increase lead volume, and what steps you can take to move the needle from there. So this is where we create our maybe sentence or our statement. So maybe a couple statements or sentences, sorry, to write up what we want to do that will drive success. So some examples of these may be create a content strategy that acknowledges and provides solutions to the pain points our customers feel, and then implementing a paid campaign that resolves a problem we're seeing in our business that is hindering our ability to reach our set goals. So then going forward, once you've got your strategy sentence or your statement laid out, you'll want to go ahead and start building out your plan. So this is where you get a little bit more granular and you actually put your plan in place. You say, hey, let's say we're going to use the pain point focused content strategy from the last paragraph as an example. Your plan should encompass all the tactics that you'll be using in relation to your strategy. So in this case, you may first want to do some research with your team to see what pain points your customers are resolving with your software. So you'll reach out, you'll talk to them, you'll see what you can do. And then at that point, you'll determine what kinds of content you can use to serve, what topics you can cover, how you'll create them, and how you will distribute them. And you can get even more granular than that. That's kind of where you start getting into the execution milestone level, where you do your plan. It's a little bit more general, and then in execution level, it's like, okay, we're going to do the keyword research for this topic. We're going to build out our content clusters. We're going to task out who's going to write the content, and then we're going to, blah, 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 blah. You keep on going down. And then at that point, once everything's laid out, you've got your client or your team's approval, you'll go ahead and start putting your plan in motion and start executing. If you use some sort of task management software, be sure to get that all plugged in and assigned to the right people, because this is the stage where the metal meets the road, I guess is the phrase. Hope I'm getting that one right. I'm not a best phrase person, but you'll want to go ahead and get buy-in from any stakeholders who have been out of the loop up to this point. And then just make sure everything's getting done. Clear any bottlenecks. If there's any blockers, talk to the people, say, hey, we need you to do X, Y, Z by this date. And if you don't, we can't move forward. Things are going to get delayed. You'll want to mitigate any risk. So if you think somebody's going to be a blocker, maybe somebody's going to be out on vacation for a week, that is right around the due date of when you need something from them, task them to it ahead of time, make sure that they're getting it done before they leave on their vacation, and then just get stuff done, get things done, just do. That's kind of one of our strengths here at OM is of course building out the strategy, but doing. It's very, very surprising how many people tend to just make the strategy, make the idea, and then don't execute. So that's something that we really, it seems silly to say, but we push that, of course, is just getting stuff done. So then after you've done, at that point, you can just leave things for a bit, keep a very close eye on them, of course, observe, monitor them, let them run for enough time that they gather a significant amount of data, see if you're meeting your goals, see what isn't working. In the very, very early stages, I highly recommend keeping a document, whether that is a spreadsheet or just a Google Doc or a Notes doc or whatever. Just monitoring your observations, put the date, say this day I saw that maybe we're not getting the conversions that we wanted, or the click-through rate on these specific ads is not that good. And just keep notes of anything that you want to continue to monitor. When it's early, things tend to take a little bit to optimize and figure themselves out, especially with the algorithms of the paid audiences. And of course, if you're doing SEO, that takes a very long time to spin up. So just be really careful not to be too reactive. especially early on. You might not be seeing those results that you want to see, but you have to give your strategy time to perform. And then once you have that significant pool of data, then you can really actually begin to take action on your observations and performance. At this point, you can begin to optimize and reiterate on your strategy a little at a time. And at this point, also be careful not to over optimize. It can be very, very easy to see, oh, I have these like 20 or so changes I'd like to make. If you make those 20 or so changes, you're not really testing anything. You're doing an extremely multivariate test where you should maybe just be A/B testing or maybe testing 2 or 3 things. Nothing too crazy, especially if they're a little bit unrelated. But some things really just take a little bit of time, especially if you have limits, like you have a low traffic due to a very niche audience, or you have a very low budget, like let's say you're spending $10 a day. It's going to take you much, much longer to get the data that you need to be able to really see what's going on as compared to if you have a $100 or $500 a day budget. So this is kind of the end of the blog. Just to wrap things up, of course, a reminder, things are changing really, really fast now and are only going to continue to change. So being adaptable is a soft skill that anyone in business and especially in marketing and even sales really needs to have. So just as things stand at this moment, B2B software and sales and marketing should really, really be implementing an inbound marketing strategy. And if you're not, it's time to start doing marketing right. Thanks, y'all. Really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Bye.